Hello and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. My name is Scott and today I'm joined by regular co-host Ben. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm all right, mate. You okay?
All good here. Happy birthday for the other day as well.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
That's an excuse for the chat. Wish Ben a happy birthday by leaving a like on the video. And we have a special guest with us today. We have a champion in the house, 2018-2019 winner, Andrew. Welcome to the podcast.
You okay? Happy birthday, Ben.
Cheers, mate.
So we'll get started with a few questions for you, Andrew, seeing as, well, actually, it seems like we have had quite a few winners on board, but it's not every day we get a winner on board. So we've got a few questions here for you. How long have you been playing fantasy football in general and then Sun Dream Team?
Right. Well, I started with Sun Dream Team in 2018, 2019. It was my first year of doing it, and I won in the first year. I've never done FPL to this day. I'm rubbish at Sky. I try and do it, but I just can't get anywhere. And Telegraph, I just don't have enough time with that, with like different games at different times of day and all the transfers and everything. I play, but I've always been 100% into Dream Team because all Europe games count, all the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. It's like, and every game means something. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like with Sky, you're just waiting for Premier League games. And do you know what I mean? You could be a Chelsea fan against Yeovil on a FA Cup night, can you? If you've got a player in your team, it just makes all the difference. Yeah, so I've been doing it since then. I was lucky enough to win on 2018, 2019. Next year, thought I'd cessed it and came nowhere. And then the year after, which was 2021, I think the year Fergie won it, I was 49th. Nice. And then the year after 21, 22, I had 3 in the top 100. I had 36th, 66th and 100. So last year, nowhere. I think it was top 1,000. And then obviously we're into the new system this year.
Even top 1,000 is good, isn't it? Go on, Ben.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, it runs in the family, doesn't it? Your son finished in the top, was it 6th place last year?
Don't go there. Oh my God. And he's the best this week as well. Oh my God. And he came 6th last year. So he was the highest placed loser in the world on the game. And he literally needed City to do something in those 2 finals. It's like the Champions League, especially. You had Grealish, you had Alvarez, you had Haaland, anything off those, and he would have been in the money, and he would have been quite high up as well. I think even up to 3rd he could have been, but no, nothing. And it was like a couple of points he was off.
Heartbreak.
It's heartbreak even now. You want to come nowhere, not 6th in the top 5. But there we go.
Did you give him some of your previous winnings as a consolation prize?
He's got them all the time, mate. He's still living here. So he's in uni, so he's still living here, and he's mad into the game as well.
It's impressive though. It's a good finish. I think I'd have packed it in if I'd won it in the first season. That's it. I think I'd have retired.
Yeah. It was a different game then as well, you know. It's like I had 3 transfers a month, and then it went to 5 the year after I won it, right the way up until now, which is obviously 2 a week.
How did you get on last season? Did you say?
Well, I tried to look it up on FF stuff before today, but last season's data seems to have disappeared. But I think I was top 1,000, but I can't recollect because it wasn't.
Yeah, I think there's only top 100 on there, isn't there, on that one?
I can't even
think
see
so.
that.
So how are you finding the new game?
Really enjoy it. I really think it's a breath of fresh air. I found that the last couple of years, it's very quickly going to template teams. Very quickly, the Man Cities and the Liverpools, and don't forget they were both the teams in form. Whereas now you've got like quite a few teams this year, haven't you, doing well. So everyone would just try and burrow their way into the Man City defence, the Liverpool defence, the Haalands, the Salahs, the Manes, and all them. And I just can't believe, even with 2 transfers a week, it's not enough. It's like you ever survive with like 3 or 5 before. It's like there's problems every week to address in there. Crazy. I like the captain thing. The only thing that I find is frustrating with the game at the moment is it's like a 9-player game because everyone's got Salah, Haaland.
Yeah.
Maybe 8-player game because everyone's got Saka, and there's going to be Trent and Trippier as well. So it's like if Saudi took Salah in January, and if, like, say, God forbid, Haaland had a bit of a leg or something, the game would explode because you'd have different captains, different people, and it would just be insane. But at the moment, everyone's either Salah or Haaland, aren't they? And the odd Saka.
Yeah.
I find the points as well. I find that there's a lot of points in there. A lot of points at the moment for like doing virtually nothing. I think maybe because you said, Scott, didn't you, at the start, they set out all the bonus points and they were all not enough. Oh, sorry, really hard to get to.
Yeah.
So they've had a rush of blood and they've done it the other way, and now it's a bit too many for, like, you know, if you get like Nick Pope last week had 2 appearance points and a save, clean sheet, 7 points, and it's like goalies like Onana can like get 5-6 points without even a clean sheet. So it's, I don't know, it's there's a lot of points for little.
Yeah, it's going to be some massive finish, isn't there? Overall, the final scores are going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, but I really am enjoying it. It's good. I mean, chips are interesting as well. Can't get ahead on the price rises whatsoever. There we go. On the first.
I guess this year's different, but have you got any? You've got some quite consistent finishes there because you've top 1,000, you've won it. You've got a few top 100s. Have you got any tips that you think could help people still in this version of the game?
Well, because it's this version of the game, I mean, I was always very, very keen on holding my transfers back. That was my strategy when I did well, because you only had a certain amount. So now that tip's gone out the window because you can get out of an issue straight away. What I would do is, because you can quickly get your team into a mess if you've got players like avoid the 4 yellows players, have a strategy to get off those players. Things like fixtures, like Ben, you've always said target the fixtures. It's like that's always a good one to do. And I avoid streaky players. I mean, when I say streaky players that bang 1 week, everyone brings them in, and you've missed the wave, and you just basically stuck with a player, just maybe going for a price rise type of thing. And this game, it doesn't even happen. So, like, for example, Mbuemo, you know, he's like, he can do really well. Evan Ferguson can hit a hat trick, jump on him, benched.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even like Martinelli's like, I would class as a streaky player. He's brilliant, but he's hit and miss. And it's like, if your midfield options so important that I would just look for nailed players, especially nailed players, not rotated players, fit players, and players who are consistent rather than streaky.
Sounds good to me. You got any other questions, Ben, or should we go on to our teams?
Yeah, let's go to the teams, mate.
Yeah, I think I've got you up first. So just before we do that, I'll just say hello to a few people in the chat. So we've got Matt Woolley in the chat. We've got Philip Harrison, Gaz in the chat, Plevna, Ryan, Seth. Good evening to all of you. And we'll kick off with your team then, shall we, Ben?
Yeah. So I got 57 points this week so far. 1,362 now. It was a hard week for me to do transfers. I couldn't make my mind up until the deadline. Even last minute, I think I made my transfers. I was mulling over bringing in Luis Diaz or Odegaard or Foden. They were my three midfield choices. Diaz had the nicer fixtures this week and probably got extra fixtures with the Carabao Cup coming up as well. And with Jota being injured, he should get more minutes. But with Gakpo scoring 2 on Thursday, it sort of scared me off him. Possibly getting he might get rotated with Gakpo. So I got scared off of that. And then I thought Odegaard or Foden. And then I went Foden just because he's been flying the last few weeks. He's been getting nearly a goal a game. And he's fourth in the bonus points as well. So he's getting loads of points. So I brought him in for Ward-Prowse. I didn't really want to get rid of Ward-Prowse, but Foden's a bit more explosive. Then my other transfers was either Lindelof out to Livramento or Johnston to Kelleher. Ended up going for Kelleher because I wanted an extra Liverpool defender in there. So, even though he's not a defender, but you know what I mean, clean sheets potential. With Alisson being out for a few weeks and him only being 1.8 million, I thought it was a bargain. I could get a price rise out of him. He only went up 0.1. I was expecting 0.3 because he's such a low-priced player. I thought I'll gain on him. Because I brought Lindelof in last week and he's gone up 0.5 in the last 2 weeks now. So usually the lower priced players seem to go up higher. I mean, quicker if they score well. Anyway, Lindelof ended up not playing and I was going to bring Livramento in, so that's not worked out. Livramento is still in my plans though in the future. I'm open to do a game week 17 part of the bus. Newcastle's fixtures have got Luton and Forest. So, Kelleher only got 1 point. Saliba 1 point. Tsimikas got 6. Got an assist and tackles. Martinelli 2. Fernandez 2. Foden got 9. Saka 13. Nunez only 3. Haaland 6. And Salah captain 14. So Haaland was unlucky not to get another assist, wasn't he? That Grealish pass.
That was a painful watch, wasn't it? After knowing that Salah didn't really do a great deal, and then watching Haaland after.
And he missed an open goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't look himself, did he? Yesterday, Haaland at all.
No, that one that got called back for that Grealish assist, that was shocking. Badly. Yeah. You must be quite happy with those transfers, though. You happy we went with Foden? Because Odegaard done all right as well, didn't he? But
I think I had to bring Foden in because you're just smashing it for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm not had him in. It's been hurting me. So I thought I was either going to triple up with Arsenal or triple up with Liverpool up front, but I decided to double up with Man City, and then I've edged my bets then because I've got double Arsenal, double Liverpool, and double Man City now.
It's like the 3 best attacks, really, isn't it? And you doubled up on them, so I think that looks pretty good, to be honest. So game week 17, you're thinking for part of the bus?
Yeah.
We've got a few questions on it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Did you say that hurt your rank quite a bit, that one?
I finally got into the top 10K before the weekend, but I knew with everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people playing part of the bus, it was going to hurt my rank. And even though there weren't no clean sheets, I've still dropped like 3K. So I mean, no Liverpool, no Arsenal clean sheets.
Are you still fairly happy with Kelleher? Because I mean, Sheffield United away should still be all right, but there might be a new manager bounce on the way.
Yeah, I am happy to have him, but I mean, Johnston could have been all right for one more week before the fixtures turned, and then looking now, like Dubravka could be starting for Newcastle, so that would have been a nice enabler as well, and he would have been longer term, wouldn't he? But the Newcastle's been linked with De Gea now, haven't they? So that'll be interesting. I can't see them paying 300 grand for his wages though.
No, I can't. Well, they could maybe one of the Saudi teams will buy him and then they'll loan him. Oh, they're not Saudi backed yet, are they? Should we go on to your team, Andrew? Is this your team? I've not got it wrong.
Yeah, that's the team. Yeah. So I had 71 points, 1,467 total, which is at the moment 1,065th position. So I had 3 transfers because I rolled it over last week.
Nice.
So I just couldn't think of anything to change for 2 transfers last week. So I just left it go. And I had Allison last week. So Kelleher was the obvious thing. Once again, I was trying to do as much as I could to help the best people, try and cover it off a bit. I had Cash, and I was worried with his 4 yellows and his form and everything, so I brought in Trent, and then Bruno. I got rid of him, Bruno Fernandez. Got rid of him for Gabriel because I just fancied Arsenal to keep 2 clean sheets. So got 1 off Kelleher, 3 off Wan-Bissaka, which was a pleasant surprise. 9 off Trent, 1 off Saliba, 3 off Gabriel. Foden once again really good. Ward-Prowse disappointing. He's a good tick along, but he's not doing that good for a midfielder in this game. I know he's like one of the top scorers, but the last few weeks he seems to be so deep playing.
Something has changed, hasn't it?
So deep. It's like, he does lovely long passes to somebody who then does the assist. So anyway, he's not an issue at the moment. Saka, once again, loads of points. Anthony Gordon, banging until I seen the red cross. And then obviously captained Haaland. And I think that's going to go against me with the second game this week, because I can see Salah doing a job up there. And Haaland might do well, but he did not look right yesterday.
It's a solid week, that 71. And what about your boosters? Have you played any yet?
No, not at the moment. I was thinking of this week, but I'm just watching what's happening with the boosters at the moment, because, Liverpool defense, they're good to do, but they're still not brilliant. I mean, last year they were shocking, weren't they? But this year, I really thought they would have had a clean against Fulham, or not 3 goals. But it just, every defense seems to be doing it. Everyone's letting in, I said to my boy, it's like, oh, we're not going to win the league with 3 goals against Fulham, and then Man City can see 3. And it's like, just seems to be the way it's going with the wing backs and the all-out attack and stuff. It just, park the bus is hard to nail. You did really well, Scott, with yours. Anyway, so your question, 17, I don't know, maybe. But there's one further down, in the 20s, which looks promising as well, around March, April time, which has got really good fixtures, which I'll mention a bit later. But the max captain and the other one, not yet. I'm happy ticking along, concentrating on the normal game.
In a really good spot, considering you've not used them. Not
I'm
far
really
in the mix.
Happy where I am at the moment, yeah.
It's set up nicely. Oh yeah, I forgot you're a Liverpool fan as well. You must be pretty happy with how things are going at the minute.
Yeah, really good, really good.
Right, then I'll come on to my one. So I got 65 points for the week. Total 1,551. I did get up to about 20th, about end of last week, but I've dropped to about 34th now. Survived the first wave, I think, of Part the Bus, but this next lot of games is going to be a shaky one. I tried to take a bit of a different approach this week because obviously everyone's gone Liverpool, Arsenal quite heavily because the fixtures do look good. My idea was to go heavy the other end of the pitch for these good fixtures. So I'll start from the back anyway. I went Kelleher in goal, brought him in this week so I can have him and Tsimikas covering off the Liverpool defence for the same reasons as you guys. It's not quite gone to plan with him. Tsimikas is all right with the 6 points. Then I've got Saliba and Zinchenko as my 2 Arsenal. Zinchenko's been good since I put him in. I think he might have had 2 attacking returns in the last 2 or 3 weeks since I put him in. So he's been pretty good. And actually, he is a little bit of a risk of rotation in his Zinchenko, but it looks like Tomiyasu might have picked up a little knock. So I think his minutes might be even safer now. And in midfield, I've got Martinelli, Saka, Bruno Fernandez and Foden. Pretty solid for Foden and Saka, but Martinelli 2-pointer. I was at the game and he hit the post in that one. That's quite unlucky. And then Bruno Fernandez. I can't work out whether I want him or not. When I don't have him, I want him. When I put him in, I hate having him. It's a nightmare. But Foden, I'm really liking having in my team with the 9 points. Then this is where I went a bit different. So I had Ollie Watkins in my team up front. And I thought he was going to play, but I just couldn't risk in a double game week, in a week that I thought was going to be really high scoring, having him maybe not play. And of course, they weren't giving anything away, were they? It was a Sunday match as well. So I brought Isak in for Ollie Watkins. And I'm happy to keep hold of him for a bit longer because they've still got an important game in the Champions League as well, whereas a lot of the other teams kind of don't need to do too much in Europe. So I brought him in, but just the 3 points in that one. I went Salah as my captain, same as you guys, or same as Ben. And then Haaland, obviously, with the 6 points. But I wanted to have the double Liverpool attack as well, because I thought that was going to be a really high scoring game. So I went for Darwin Núñez as my 12th man. Obviously hit the crossbar, didn't he? In Núñez fashion, didn't quite do it. So just the 3 points. And I am a little bit worried that he may end up starting on the bench the next game. I don't know what you think as a Liverpool fan. Do you think there's a good chance Gakpo might start that one?
It's 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the thing is, I think he could work either way. He might give Núñez the game to fill in with confidence if he gets like loads, because you know that Gakpo is going to play the European game.
Yeah, hopefully he does get some minutes. But with this one, between Isak and Núñez, it was quite close, really. I was actually going to do, if the price changes didn't come into it, I was actually going to do Núñez into my team and Isak as the 12th man. But then I looked at the previous, and Núñez was due to go down in price and Isak was due to go up. So I just put Isak in. He got the 0.2 rise and Núñez went down 0.1. But I'll probably will stick with Isak in the end anyway. But yeah, not so far, not too bad with the other part of the buses, but I do think they'll do well in this next round of games.
You'll have to keep Isak through to game week 17 now, won't you?
Yeah, I think I want to keep him through to the through at least the Champions League round as well.
Yeah,
he's on penalties as well. I don't think Wilson's that close to coming back. I think it's still a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Boxing Day, I looked earlier.
So yeah, relatively happy with that. I've got a fair chunk of about 1.5 million in the bank as well, so I'm doing all right for budget. Yeah, should we go on to these questions?
Was it game week 9 you did the part of the bus?
Yeah, game week 9.
Yeah.
I think I've got 62 points, obviously doubled.
Yeah, I think you literally done the same thing what I did. So in game week 9, I did 12th man, and I brought in Alvarez because Man City had those nice games, and Liverpool had nice games as well. And I was thinking, I'll attack the fixtures instead of defending the fixtures, and it didn't work out.
Oh, hopefully the
Alvarez,
Sheffield United one.
Alvarez got 2 points in the
Did he play both games?
He started the league game against Bournemouth and got taken off, and then he didn't. He came on really late against Young Boys, so he only got 2 points.
I'm expecting a bench. I'm expecting a bench for him. Anything more is a bonus, I think. Right. So we've got questions from our Discord community or our Patreon members. There'll be a link in the description below for our Patreon as well. You can check that out. We've got early access to the pods. Obviously, we've got everyone in the chat in the live streams as well. We've got some exclusive Dream Team articles and bits like that as well. So do check that out in the link in the description below. Our first question is from Anthony Stringer. Top 5 players to have for Park the Bus in game week 17. Andrew, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, right. Newcastle, obviously, game week 17 have Luton and Nottingham Forest. So that's got to be in consideration. But it's who's the defence going to be? So Trippier's got to be in there. Shah, you would think, is going to be in there. Now, Livramento, do you think Livramento is going to be nailed, or is Lewis Hall going to eat his minutes away?
I think he's looked good, Livramento. I think he should be fairly safe. Would you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, you need him nailed for both.
Yeah, at the moment, I think he's nailed that left back spot. He's been outstanding since he's come in.
The eye test when he played the other night, he was mad, wasn't he, going forward? And then I don't know how far Botman's away. They're making noises about him being training again. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue or whether he's going to be back or not, because that would help, wouldn't it? The other team that I like the look of, if we did Park the Best on 17, is Chelsea, because Chelsea have got Wolves away, Crystal Palace at home without Eze, and then their out game on game week 18 is Luton. So if you had like a Reece James, just for example, only one. So if you had like Trippier, Shah, James, Livramento, and I would definitely put Trent in a Park the Best. So that would be my 5. Trippier, Shah, James, Livramento, stroke Botman if he's there, and Trent. That's
pretty much what we were talking about earlier, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, Andrew, I think you've nailed that. That's the same as me. Well, I think we were talking about that, saying Trent, yeah, they've got Arsenal at home, but they're at home, so it should be. And then they got the Burnley game after that, so he's just a points magnet as well, isn't he?
Trent's an essential player for the whole season now.
That is exactly what I've got written out. I did Livramento, Trippier, James, Trent, and Fabian Schär. That is the exact 5 that I put down. There you go, Anthony. Job done. This one I found a bit harder, though. So we've got Conor Tobin, 3rd best striker option. Obviously, Andrew, you said most teams have got Salah and Haaland at the minute. 3rd best striker option. I brought this up on the screen. This is just the top strikers. Nothing fancy, just top for points.
Sorry, just go back 1 second. I did have something down about that Park the Best. If someone wanted to gamble on a player, not a block, Spurs, I know they're crap at defence, so I bet they'll have Romero back. And that week they got Everton at home, Brighton away, and then they come out to Bournemouth at home. So if you had like a Pedro Porro, for example, you could be lucky.
Yeah. Villa's got nice opening game that week as well, and they got Sheffield United at home and then Man United away. So maybe Cash could be a good player then if you're struggling for funds.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The clip with the points now, I think I had Cash in mind, and he ended. I think he might have got 1 clean sheet, but I think he racked up like 5 tackles in one of the games.
Yeah,
but it doesn't take too much for the other avenues. striker options then. Who are you guys thinking that's the best third option? We'll go from pretty much from now on, shall we? I know, or now till Christmas, maybe. What do you reckon?
Son.
You fancy Son, Andrew, do you?
I do, yeah. I just think I think he's nailed. I mean, Alvarez isn't nailed. They're missing a couple of games, aren't they, as well? Alvarez is a really good shout though. But it's like, if you had to, Son is going to play every game. He's home against Newcastle, and we don't know what that defense is going to be like with our goalie. Forest, Everton, Brighton, Bournemouth, then Burnley in the cup. It's like if he's a banger, Son. Do you mean?
Yeah, I looked on average points. I sorted it by average points as well, and actually his average points, apart from Salah and Haaland, I think he was third out of the strikers if you go on average points, because obviously he's not had Europe, has he, compared to the rest of them, so they've accumulated more points. But if you go on average points, Son is behind Haaland and Salah, just ahead of Watkins.
No Europe now, there is there.
Yeah, exactly. One more game, but for quite a few of the teams, it's going to be a bit of a dead one, isn't it?
Yeah. The other one I was thinking of is when we see him, if he exists, is Nkunku for Chelsea. Because if he comes on and plays well, then he could be.
Fixtures are good.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd put Son down as my third best for the exact same reasons, really. Nailed for 90. I think Ollie Watkins as well is also, I think you can put him in that category that he is going to play every minute of every game when he's available. But then I'm pretty sure Son will be on penalties, won't he, as well? They haven't had one yet this season, Spurs, but I think he will be on penalties. I'd imagine he is when they come. And I think their fixtures do look quite nice. So, yeah, I'd go for Son. He is the talisman, isn't he? Whereas some of these other people in the list, I know I did put Núñez in the 12th as a punt for this chip, but yeah, he's not a talisman. He's not guaranteed the minutes. Even with Isak, I've got him at the moment, but as soon as Wilson comes back, there's going to be those question marks again a little bit. So, yeah, I'm in agreement with Son at the moment. What do you reckon, Ben?
Can we not go to 5 in midfield?
Would you prefer?
Yeah, I think I would prefer. There's a lot more better options in midfield. You've got Saka, Bowen, Foden, Bruno, Martinelli, Odegaard. You've even got Gordon. Even Sterling could be an option as well. Once he's had his fifth yellow card, because he's on 4, isn't he?
We fancy them to outscore Son though when it's Prem only.
I don't like Son until 16, game week 16. And they haven't got the Carabao Cup. And then, I mean, it's short term, yeah, it's good. Forest, Everton, Brighton away, Bournemouth home. And then Burnley in the FA Cup. But that week, there's the Carabao Cup semi-final, first leg. So that's another game he's missing out on. I just like to target teams with more games. So, yeah, Isak could be playing extra games. Núñez could be playing extra games. Obviously, Núñez isn't nailed, but he's been pretty much in the starting 11 in the league, hasn't he? Every match. And the fixtures are all right. But so if I think when we get to game week 16 and we find out who goes through to the semi-finals, then you can start planning a bit longer term. Because if Liverpool go out in the Carabao Cup quarter-final against West Ham, the fixtures look tough because they've got Arsenal, Burnley away, then Newcastle at home, Arsenal in the FA Cup. So then they won't have that Carabao Cup semi-final. But if they've got the Carabao Cup semi-final, then Núñez is probably a good option.
Yeah, makes sense. But you'd go for the midfielders, extra midfielders. We've got Matt Woolley next. And this is a question for you, Andrew. We've sort of covered it a little bit, but anything to add on how you're finding the new format?
As I said previously, I'm enjoying it. It's things you've got to adjust. For someone like me who's not like banging into transfers left, right, and centre, it's an adjustment that it's quite difficult to get my head around. So I got to be a bit more aggressive with the transfers. But the things like the boosters and chips and stuff, it's all really good. I'm really enjoying the game. Just like I said, it's like the points and stuff. I think it'll be a change next year. I think they will probably put some more chips in, change the points around, because at the moment, like a goal, you can virtually get bonus points for the same equivalent, So I love the game, and I just think it's fab, to be honest, as usual.
Sounds good to me. One last thing I was going to ask you: what do you reckon of the deadlines? Yeah, that's the one bit that I feel is coming up the most. Do you like the new deadline, or would you prefer it if it was the way before?
No, I don't like deadlines at all. No, because you normally have one game, don't you? And you can't get a sniff of anything because the managers and the press conferences don't give anything away. So that's a lucky dip, really, isn't it?
It's been someone every week at the moment, hasn't it? With with the injuries, like I would have 100% kept Watkins if I knew he was definitely going to start. But hey ho, we can't change the rules. Right, thoughts for goalkeepers as we move out of the first European phase. Are Dubravka and Kelleher bargains not to be ignored? This is from Matt Woolley as well. Thoughts on keepers, Ben? Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, get them in if you can get to them. Obviously, they're going to be so cheap. They're going to enable better players in your midfield and attack. Possibly get Trent into defence then, or Trippier. So yeah, definitely the way to go. Just keep listening out because De Gea has been linked with Newcastle. I don't know. I can't see how they're going to afford him. I know they can afford him, but will they break the wage structure to get him in? Because he was on like 300 grand at Man United, weren't he? So, but yeah, Dubravka's only 1.6 million. I think I prefer him to Kelleher now, just because Alisson isn't out that long. And if you can get Dubravka in, and then if they don't get another goalkeeper, Pope won't be back until May, I think he says.
That's the season. That's basically
the
season,
pretty much. What do you think, Andrew?
I agree. I think Kelleher's a trap. I've got him in my team. I had Adrian a few years ago, and I got stuck with him because I spent the money elsewhere, and I couldn't get him out when Alisson came back. And obviously I was stuck with him for weeks because you only had the 5 transfers a month then. You can get out of trouble, but if you spend the money elsewhere, like you said, by putting Trents in and Trippiers and this, you might be left with hardly any money. And then when it's time to get rid of Kelleher, who can you put in? Maybe the jump off is to Dubravka, which is handy in it that he's done his shoulder at Pope, so that can happen. But I like going forward. I like Sanchez as well until like Europe comes back. I think Chelsea got really good fixtures, and I think it's between Chelsea. Kelleher's got to go. It's like he's a short-term gamble. Obviously, if I'd have known Pope was going to be injured, I would have put on Dubravka. They're more defensive team, are they? More solid, Newcastle, even with their replacement defense. I think I can't see De Gea happening. I think they will get a lone keeper, because a good one, because they're not gonna a team with all that backing is not gonna go with 36 or however old he is, Dubravka and Karius as your main keeper. So I think they'll give him till the transfer window and bring a loan in, surely, whoever it may be.
What about Ramsdale on loan?
Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about that in the Arsenal.
Would Arsenal let it happen though?
Apparently we want to keep hold of him, and there's talk of having 2 good goalkeepers. But You
No,
would
it's
say that, wouldn't you? Because if we say we want him, if we say we want to get rid of him, you're not going to get any money for him, are you? So
yeah, it's to a rival, strengthening a rival.
yeah,
He wants to get in the England squad, doesn't he, for the Euros though? Needs to be playing minutes.
The thing is, though, they'll only have the same problem though. Once, I mean, if they sign him and then Pope comes back, I don't know. We've got a lot of Newcastle. We've got a lot of Newcastle guys in the Discord, haven't we? But if they signed, I'd be interested to know who they'd want, Pope or Ramsdale.
It's got to be Dubravka in it really up until, like I said, because you can jump off as soon as someone comes in on loan, jump off straight away.
Yeah. I was pretty much in agreement. I was looking at my budget and it was looking quite healthy, and I was starting to think about moving Raya into my team and actually finally upgrading. But yeah, I thought Kelleher coming along was a bit of a gift. Going from Johnston to Kelleher just seemed to make sense to me. And I thought worst case scenario, I can then go to Sanchez. But now Dubravka's come up as well. I'm pretty sure I'm going to scrap the expensive goalkeeper plan for now. Amongst Dubravka, Kelleher and Sanchez, I'm sure there's the cheaper one, and then you can use the money elsewhere, I think. That's how I think about it. We've got a question from Connor up next. Do Newcastle batter Sunderland? I spoke about we've got some Newcastle fans. I think you can imagine that Connor's one. Do Newcastle batter Sunderland? Spicy cup draw.
I don't think they'll batter them, but I think they'll beat them. I think it'll be a good match though. Sunderland doing all right in the Championship. I know it's a Championship, but they're a good team. They did well when they came to Leicester, and I think we only just beat them 1-0. They're good pressing side. Don't let you out. If you try and play out from the back, they're just on you. But Newcastle are not a team to play out from the back, are they? So
I reckon they'll go strong because Newcastle didn't go very strong in Carabao.
They have to go strong. They have to go strong. It'll be the biggest fixture they talk about for weeks and weeks and weeks. They can't lose against Sunderland.
I suppose by then, we talk in January, yeah?
Yeah.
January. They'll know if they're in or out of the cup, Newcastle, won't they? The EFL Cup. They'll know if they're in or out of the groups of the knockout to the Champions League, and maybe even out altogether. And they need a trophy up there. And they're not going to win the league, are they, this year? So I think they'll go strong.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if they go strong, I think so. I think Newcastle will win.
They'll never hear the end of it if they lose to Sunderland. They have to go strong. It's massive derby, that.
Talking of the FA Cup, Andrew, we're facing off.
I know. Joking here. Man City got Huddersfield.
Yeah.
That's your
first round. I think we got City first time round last season.
Yeah.
In the FA Cup.
That's the Alvarez fixture, Huddersfield.
They got Sheffield United the week before.
We've got Liverpool, what's that, twice in 2 weeks then? Would that be? Twice in 2 weeks or twice in 3 weeks?
Yeah. Twice in 2 weeks.
Not looking forward to that. Right. Moving on. This is another striker question. We may have come to this conclusion. This is just for game week 15 though. So David87 wants to know Watkins, Isak, Alvarez, Nunes or Son from game week 15. Is it pretty much the same answer for you guys? Son?
Yeah, Son for me. We don't know if he's on pens. It's like if he's on pens, that's the difference to Watkins for me. And 15, who's the fixture for 15?
Newcastle.
And
I think Villa's got us, I think. Is that in 15?
Yeah, 15. Got us. Yeah, Villa. Yeah, Villa's got Arsenal. And is he going to play the European game, Watkins? I know they're not 100% top of the group yet, are they? It's like, is he going to play that game? And what's he going to get out of Arsenal? So he's not on pens as well, which is a downer for him. Isaac, for Newcastle. I mean, Tottenham and AC Milan, that's a good shout if he's fit for both of them. Alvarez, is he going to be pepped soon? Do you mean, is he going to have a bench in?
I think the only good thing about that with City at the minute is they've got Doku's just got injured, didn't he? And then Grealish went off. So they're probably going to need maybe Foden on one of the wings. So he might just about be safe just through a couple of players be out. But I think I'd go Son as well. What are you saying, Ben?
I think I'd go Nunez. You got Palace away, and then Union Saint-Gilloise in the Europa. Probably won't play in the Europa though. That's the only thing. But Palace away.
He always gets on, doesn't he?
Yeah, extra minutes, I suppose.
Well, looking at this, right? Because I mean, Son at home to Newcastle, it's one game. Isak is going to play both. He's going to play Tottenham and he's going to play Milan at home. So yeah, I'd rather target the fixture. Son going forward, but game week 15, Isak. If it was my team.
Yeah, I got in Isak game week 16 onwards, but obviously, if he's going to play 2 games, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah,
from 15.
How far is Wilson away?
Boxing Day, it says. So approximately. So it might be before, it might be after.
Yeah.
I mean, I do say Son, but I mean, I've got Isak. I'm probably going to stick with Isak until I see a good reason to move him on. I don't think there's that much in between it.
Yeah. I mean, out of all the European games next week, it's only really Newcastle and Man U, obviously, that have got to play their strong teams in it, because you don't know where you are with Brighton. You don't know who's going to bring on, who's going to leave out. West Ham, same. It's like they don't do much today. Bowen doesn't play. And then Villa, don't know, they just can't keep it clean, can they? And
they need a point, Villa, to win the group.
Do they?
Yeah, just a point.
But he rotates again, doesn't he?
Yeah, they're already through, but they need a draw to win the group.
Yeah. Ben, you don't fancy,
because what happens if you finish second? I think it is you play
another game.
You play a qualifier in like a playoff in February, but if you win the group, you go straight through to March. You don't play the extra game.
Good for us if they lose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, you don't want Rashford in. You don't want Rashford back in your team.
No,
not missing him.
It's getting to that time of the year when his form turns, isn't it? Last year around this time, we brought him in after the wild card, and he was unbelievable, wasn't he? All the way through to May, but he started the season like absolute crap.
Not happening for him. Next up, so best captain pick for game week 15. This is from Anthony Stringer. We'll kick us off, Andrew.
Trippier.
Oh.
I think City have Luton away and then a dead rubber. So is Alvarez or Haaland going to play both games? It's risky. Bruno Fernandez is another shout, but they're so off form, Man U. But I mean, he's like, even when they're off form, he can haul. So Bruno would be on my short list. Trippier, he's got Spurs away. He's going to get points for just turning up off the bus, isn't he? And they could keep a clean sheet. And he's nailed for Milan home. That's got points written all over it. So for me, I mean, look at the points he's got this week, and the people in the Park the Best who've got Trippier have saved their Park the Best. So I think 2 games nailed. Salah's not going to play that European game. Haaland's maybe not. Saka, I mean, that Arsenal team could be a ghost team, couldn't it?
Yeah, he won't play. He won't play that, I don't think.
And, he's not guaranteed to get much at Villa, is he?
That's a good call, to be honest. I'd gone quite boring. I looked at Liverpool and I thought it's the early kickoff, and that's what they say: don't back the early kickoff.
No.
So I was gonna just go Haaland, to be honest with you. Looking at Luton, I just thought that Luton one looks like it could have hat-trick potential. I know they're not the pushovers that we thought they'd be, but I don't fancy going into that Luton game without having him as captain. So I probably will go him, even with the one fixture. But that is a good thinking, really, on Newcastle. A bit of a differential. I mean, if I've got Isak still on my team as well, I guess he could be an option.
Yeah,
but I think it'd be squeaky bum time for me if I didn't have Haaland. I think I'll have to think about that. What do you reckon, Ben?
The only could skip of that mind is if Trippier gets his yellow this week.
Yeah, true. I had a question actually. I think I forgot. I was going to ask it in our Discord, but I might as well ask you now, Ben. You're the fixture guy, but you'll probably know as well, Andrew. If he gets that in the Premier League one, will he miss the Carabao if it's yellows?
They do. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure there was a player early on the season that I had. I can't remember who it is, and he was suspended and he missed the game in midweek as well for the cup. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought it was.
I think it's if you get a red card, you miss the Carabao Cup. But if you get a yellow card, it doesn't affect the cup matches.
Oh, okay. So he gets his fifth yellow. He'll still play that cup.
Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I think it was that, because I'm sure someone got a red card in the league, but then missed the Carabao Cup this season.
Hang on, we're going to call on Matt Woolley here. As Ben says, 5 yellow suspensions are Premier League only. Red cards are FA Cup suspensions. What about if he gets 2 yellows in one game? He won't actually. Yeah, it will be the case. If he gets 2 yellows, then he'd miss the FA Cup and still be on 4.
It'll be a red card then, won't it? Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be on that for a while.
Did you pick a captain, Ben?
Sorry, Andrew.
When do the 4 yellows stop? Is it game week 9? Is it 19th game?
19th game, yeah.
It's 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's your pick, Ben?
I agree with you. I think just because it's a bit like you don't know who's going to play both games, and Haaland seems to always play in the Champions League, even when they don't need to win. I think it's just because he likes to. They want to keep his record up, because he's scoring more goals than games played, isn't he?
So he could have something in his contract.
I don't know, but he always seems to play.
Know,
normally, you'd think that Alvarez would play in the Champions League and rest Haaland now because they're through. But even last week, they still started Haaland, and he played, and then Alvarez came off the bench. So like you say, Luton away, potential hat trick there. So yeah, boring answer.
We've got Nathan up next. What are your early plans for game week 15? If I quickly run it back, we can go back to the teams. I'll go Andrew first. Early plans for game week 15.
Well, obviously these are early plans because things change by the day, and especially with another round of games coming up. Trippier's got to come in to my team. I know he's on 4 yellows, but if he comes in and you get the game out of him and then he gets yellow, you can get him out for the following week, can you? I'm not sure about that Arsenal defence. So Trippier for one of the Arsenal boys, and I might even take both Arsenal out for Livramento. Reason being, the fixtures for Arsenal, Villa away, which is possible. Well, Villa are brilliant at home, aren't they? PSV away, they might not even play. Brighton at home, not bad. Then you've got Liverpool away. It's like, I don't know, it's like I can't see them keeping many cleans, and they haven't got the cup game, whereas like Newcastle have. So at the moment, Trippier and Livramento for Saliba and Gabriel.
Interesting. Yeah, I do agree. The fixtures do look quite tough for the Arsenal defence. We do look really, really good, but it's like anyone, you can just concede one at any time, can't you?
Mm.
What about you, Ben?
Very similar. I was looking at Lindelof out and possibly Fernandez. And then I was thinking Trent and Livramento. But I'm possibly, now we've been talking about it, with Trippier will definitely play both games next week if he don't get suspended on midweek. Trent might be. Trippier might be better to get in than Trent, just because Trent might not play that Europa League game.
Yeah, he's very persuasive, this Andrew. He's convincing me on Trippier as well, actually.
plus, I need to get my Newcastle quota up because I'm trying to park the bus in game week 17.
I've just watched him all this season. I mean, last year was bad enough, but this year it's like when I haven't had him, he's hauling every single week, and it's like I'm sick of him. So just get him in the team, innit? Him and Trent, and then just have rubbish around them, you know, like the Newcastle goalie. Million.
My faults. Where have I put it? I jotted it down here somewhere. I'm gonna have to
Can't you remember?
Well, basically, I was sort of thinking roughly the same. So I want to see what. The minute I start to plan Bruno Fernandez out, I know what he's going to do. He's going to score well in this Chelsea game, and then we're not going to know what to do with him again. But he was my make weight. Bruno Fernandez would be my make weight to either get to Trippier or Trent. I was leaning towards Trent, but Andrew's selling me on Trippier. So I do agree. Actually, that sounds quite good with the Champions League. He's obviously going to be more likely to play. I didn't quite know what I'd do with the second move, to be honest. At this point, I am quite liking how my team's set up. To be honest, at the moment, I haven't got too many fires to solve. I'd quite like Watkins back, to be honest, because I wouldn't have taken him out if there wasn't that bloody injury doubt. But now I've got Isak. I've surely got to hold him.
Yeah,
I've got to hold him for Champions League, haven't I?
Can't take Isak out of it.
I found my note as well. The only other thing I was considering is that I was so happy with having Bowen in my team before I had the injury problem with Bowen. So I would be fairly interested in getting Bowen back in there as well, because their fixtures are pretty good long term, aren't they? But the only thing I did see, it was a knee injury. I'm just a little bit worried whether or not they're just going to be playing him with this knee injury through the congested period, or are we going to start seeing him getting early subs or anything like that? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, first impressions, it's probably going to be, if Bruno doesn't deliver against Chelsea, probably getting in one of the big defenders.
I might move Martinelli on instead of Bruno, actually. I don't know yet, depending on budget. Just because Bruno's got penalties in he as well. And he'll definitely play both games next week. Martinelli might come off half a game or something, because they're already through in the Champions League.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if Martinelli plays Champions League when he doesn't need to. We've got Reece Nelson, Trossard, got quite a few players that can play in that position. So, yeah, I think, and especially with some quite tough fixtures coming up, I think it'll be good for us to rotate, really. So, yeah, not a bad shout for that. That is all of us, isn't it, for 15? Another question for you, Andrew. What did you put your success down to when you won it in 18-19? Was there any particular strategy?
I think I said earlier it was transfers. When I won it, there was only 3 for the month, just 3. So you couldn't really do price rises as such because you'd just be blowing your transfers. I would avoid streaky. Any kind of vanity transfer, I would save them for injuries, and there was injuries all the time. So, like, say, for example, I'll just bring it to this season, like a Garnacho or an Evan Ferguson, wonder goal, bring them in, and then nothing. And then someone gets injured, and then you need the transfers. So what happened when I won it, I was about the top 100 about Christmas time, and just couldn't believe like everything was going well, like all the players were doing well and stuff. But there was obviously lots of players with the same teams above me. It was template teams: Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea with Eden Hazard. Everyone had him. And then what happened was KDB had an injury very early on in the month, and a lot of people were stuck with him, and I didn't have him. And so my players were getting loads of points on differential on all the people with the KDB players above me. So I jumped really high quickly over like a few weeks. And then Bernardo Silva was my main differential. He kept scoring goals left, right, and centre. And then the thing that won it for me, I think, was I was always on, because imagine it took over my life. It literally engulfed my life, right? And I was on Twitter all the time, like trying to get like any info on team news, things like that. And I saw one, because I was on obviously lots of Liverpool groups, somebody who was like pretty like legit on Twitter said, Firmino's out for the season. Don't shoot the messenger. Like don't shout at him on Twitter. And I thought, this sounds a bit like it could happen. And then I was like seeing other little bits of gossip around it just on Twitter, random Twitter. And then because I try to like follow, journalists and things like that. And then I made the decision in a pub 5 minutes before kickoff. I put Aubameyang in for Firmino. And that's what won me the game, because he was scoring Arsenal. He was scoring hat trick after hat trick. He was insane. And that was it. And I had it won like weeks before the end. It was just, I just thought this is so easy. And it's like, it's not at all. I mean, it's not at all. And so just basically fit, nailed players, no streaky vanity transfers. That's how I did mine, and wait for injuries and then step in with your 3 transfers when needed.
And you'd punt down the pub.
Yeah. And I pressed it like 5 minutes to go, and I was thinking, please register, go through.
Oh,
It did. And Firmino was out for the season, and I brought him back in. He made it to the Champions League final, but he wasn't fit. Like Kane wasn't fit, but he was out for the rest of that season. And Aubameyang was on fire.
That's amazing how you've won that in your first season as well.
I know.
Oh,
don't piss everyone off.
Don't forget to thank your wife as well. I saw the article. Didn't you say? She gave you a lot of help?
Yeah. Well, it was her, and we were on holiday at the time, so we were in the pub on holiday in Gran Canaria. But in the pool in the day when we were talking, when I had this notification about Firmino, it's like my son was like, "Oh, put Alisson in and stuff, and get rid of Firmino for Alisson and that type of thing. Change Ederson to Alisson, all this." And then it all made sense, but she was the one that convinced me, like, no one's got Aubameyang, differential, like, put him in. It's like, because she hasn't got, she's not into football, but she could look at it from a step back, as in like, what piece of the puzzle would go in to make the most difference. And Aubameyang was literally, if Firmino wasn't going to play and everyone had Firmino, just put Aubameyang in, what can you lose? And like I said, he's now been the same since.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we'll share that article in the Discord. It's a good read, that.
Yeah, I've popped it in there already. I'll put the article in the Discord, but if you're happy for us to do it, I'll reshare that again on Twitter as well, because it's a good read, that.
Yeah.
Right, up next then. So we've got Twed up next. Has your opinion changed on having a budget? At the start, you all pretty much said it didn't matter. Do you still feel the same way? So I don't think we didn't think we initially we will build budget, won't we? And then after a couple of weeks, we were kind of like, oh, do you know what? There's a lot of players that are scoring that aren't that high up. So, do you still feel the same way? I'll start with you, Ben. How do you feel about budget?
Initially, I was trying to build budget, and nothing was going. None of the players were going up. They were just going up 0.1. So, like, I had five heavy high price players at the start, and when they had a good week, they weren't even going up. They were going up 0.1, maybe not even going up. So I lost loads of value. So I had to like reassess during the season, and I was thinking, the players aren't going up, so there's nothing to worry about. We were talking about it, weren't we? But then now it seems to be the cheaper players are going up a lot more. So if you can get the cheaper players in that are on form and then move them on when they come to a sticky run of fixtures and move on to the next big thing, you can build budget that way. So yeah, I have started building budgets now. I think I've got 54 million or something like that. It's starting to go up now. But I ended up at like 48 million at one point or something daft because it just kept going down and down and down. So yeah, definitely is important with all these double game weeks coming up to get the big hitters in it. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, come.
Yeah, I agree with what you say. I found I was jumping left, right, and centre at the start trying to get budget increase, and it wasn't happening. It's like I can't work out these price rises, like you said, Scott, early on your podcast. Just can't work them out. And I still can't work them out. It's like Kelleher just at 0.1. I just can't get it. So I've stopped trying now, and I find that sometimes it was affecting my team because I was chasing the price rise, and it was affecting my team plans and the players I want. And if it was working, fair enough, but it's not even working. So I found a couple of times so far recently that I'm 0.1 away from the transfer I want to make, which is like annoying me. But like I said, I'm not going to actively chase budget. I'm chasing the points now rather than the budget. So I think if you've got the right team and you're doing well, you're going to have budget anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, that was going to feed into mine really, because like the last couple of weeks I've just been I've had quite a few good weeks in a row, and now my budget's flying, but I haven't been sort of attacking budget that much. The only thing I would say is kind of with that Isak Darwin, or there's been a few times where I've had the 50-50 and I'm really not sure if one is going to go up. I tend to go for that one. I haven't been actively trying to really build budget. It's just been, I've done well and the budget has followed kind of thing. Maybe if you've got a 50-50, that's hard to decide. You go for the budget player. But I do think long term though, it might not feel like we need the budget at the moment, but I do still think later in the season, if City just keep back-to-back clean sheets or 3 clean sheets in a row, all of a sudden you've got like a lot of £4 million defenders that you might want to get in. And I think then it might start to come into play. Or De Bruyne comes back in January. Once he's back in the mix, it might start to get a bit trickier. But yeah, I still think it's never going to be a problem having more budget, is it? But I still don't think it's as important as it was last season. Shall we go on to, we've got DT Phillip up next. We've covered that really, the first question, the game week 17 Park the Bus teams to target. But what are your thoughts on Park the Bus this week? Would you be happy with how it's going after the first lot of fixtures? None of us have played it, have we?
No.
So we're probably quite happy. Would you be happy if it was you? Ben, do you want to start?
No, I wouldn't be happy really, because you would have thought Liverpool and possibly Arsenal should have got a clean sheet against Wolves and Fulham. but they've still got good fixtures next week. So in midweek, so possibly could still be good. Did you see Tomiyasu went off to get the clean sheet? So he ended up on 11 points. He got an assist and 5 tackles. So he did all right if you had him, but very unlikely you would have picked him because he's a bit of a rotation risk.
Was he near the cut-off? What minute did he go off? I was at the game, so I obviously saw him go off, but I don't recall what minute. Was it close?
I can
Ben
have a look
White's
for you.
now as well, I think he said Ben White's ready.
Yeah, I guess if you did go for, I think Ben White and Zinchenko would have been the popular or more popular out of all the fullbacks from Arsenal. So I guess Tomiyasu going off might be a bonus for a few people.
79 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad. Yeah, I didn't think. I mean, you would have hoped for 2 clean sheets, wouldn't you? But I think it could have been a lot worse. The fact you got 9 from Trent, 6 from Tsimikas. Obviously, Trippier had a blinder. If you had Trippier, and Zinchenko also got an attack in return, I think it could have been a lot worse if you'd have got the clean sheet wipe out and no attacking returns. I think that would have been maybe a little bit of a disaster to start off with. But no, I think they're still in a pretty good position with the fixtures, Sheffield United and Luton coming up. I think you've still got to be confident. They're going to keep a clean sheet in them 2 fixtures, aren't they?
Yeah, obviously. I'm hoping we jinx them.
Yeah. Andrew, anything to add on it?
I think you all nailed it. It's like, I think it can still be recovered. I wouldn't be despondent if I didn't park the best this week, because you have got the 2 best fixtures the second half. And if you had a clean, and there's potential for the defenders that are in park the best to score, Trent's gonna have a chance of scoring. Tsimikas could do assists. You got Zinchenko could do anything. It's like it could still work out really well. It's just defenses are so crazy this year. It's like everyone's playing out from the back. Everyone's all out attack. Everyone's 3 at the back, 5 at the back. It's only Sean Dyche that does 4-4-1-1. Do you mean? And it's like, I think the game's changed since the last couple of years. It's all play up the back, and the cleans are very rare.
Someone sent a screenshot into our Discord earlier in the season. I can't remember exactly what game it was, but someone did park the bus with full Everton backline and get the clean sheet, didn't they? It was just the one. It was just the one fixture, but someone done it. They had their whole team was Everton, like front to back, and they parked the bus and got the clean sheet. Quite good. Who we got up next? Oh, we've got Andy Barnett's question up next, but just quickly going back, you said earlier, Ben, that obviously Bruno's got pens, but Andy reminded us Bruno gives his pens to Rashford now, doesn't he?
Yeah. So does Saka. He likes to give them away.
Just everyone's so generous. Where's the greedy boys at? Keep them for yourself.
Salah's the greedy one.
Yeah. I was laughing the other day when in the Champions League when Odegaard had the ball in his hand, and I was thinking he's going to give this away, and he gave it to Jorginho.
Like a hot potato. We're waiting for the double pass on. Jorginho passes it on to someone else.
Yeah.
All right, Andy's question. At the moment, it looks like Haaland, Salah, and Saka are the must-have premium price players. Do you think there's any others that are essential to put in your team and leave, even if they have a bad week or two, and that it could see them go down in value? Is there anyone you'd hold for a rough patch?
I think Trent and Trippier could be quite important coming up now for the next month or so. And obviously Foden's been brilliant, but he's going to be having a little bit of a blank, not a blank, but he's going to have a couple of singles while other teams are playing doubles. So, yeah, possibly could move off him. But he's been awesome, hasn't he, in the last few weeks?
Mm.
What do you think, Andrew?
Well, I read the question to put in your team and leave. So if we're talking season, then Trent and Trippier, to me, are essential as Salah, to be honest with you, and Saka especially. Trippier and Trent, I think they're must-haves. Foden, must-have until KDB comes back, because then he's going to eat into his minutes, and that to me is a no-go then. That I don't like the Man City midfield. It's like you're always at risk. It only ever seems to be Rodri and Haaland that's nailed in that team. And I don't know, it's like, to me, Foden, he's been immense. He's in my team. I love him, right? But when KDB comes back, Pep's going to be like a kid in a sweet shop, and he.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have pretty much covered mine, really. I said, other than the three mentioned before, Foden's probably the only one that I'm sort of getting that feeling with at the minute. I think I looked back and he's probably had like 2 or 3 bad game weeks all season. He's been hitting some really, really good numbers. So he's the one that I think I'll probably end up keeping him. If he does go through 2 or 3 bad weeks, I think I will end up keeping him. Trippier would be the other one after that. I just don't think I'll be able to get, unless we build budget a lot, Trippier and Trent.
It's going to be hard to get them all in.
But Bruno was the guy that I thought was going to be in this equation, but it's just coinciding with Man United's bad form, isn't it?
He's actually doing all right, though, isn't he? Even though he's not scored many goals, he's still ticking along.
Confusing us a little bit, it
it
feels worse.
Yeah, it's because his price has dropped like $1 million as well. Yeah.
Lee up next.
There's loads of enablers that are coming about now as well, so you should be able to afford a few extra good high price players too.
Lee's put it down as an unpopular opinion, but as the new point system really opened up the player pool that much, he's seeing a similar amount of limited options. What do you reckon, Andrew?
Well, it has opened up the player pool in the fact of the formations. You can do 4-5-1, 3-5-2, 4-3-3. So you can have loads of different players. However, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's an 8-player game because everyone's going to have Trippier, Trent, Saka, Salah, Haaland. So you're going to find these 10-play teams, and then it's going to come down to your captains and your boosters. And injuries, like I said, if Salah goes off to Saudi in January, if Haaland has an injury, then it's game on for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if I think it is that similar. I don't feel like, how are our teams very similar? If I just quickly knit back, because I feel like our teams are fairly different. In terms, our defense is a fair bit different here, aren't they? Ben's got Man United.
Sort of more mean like the second half of the season, right? When like Newcastle are out of Europe, and like it's just going to be Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool in Europe. You're going to have people are going to funnel into those players because there won't be people have got West Ham, people got Brighton, people got Villa, and it's like they're going to be like gone probably, and then you're going to just be left with the big boys playing twice a week, and everyone's going to try and get those in.
Yeah. That's what happened with City at the end of last season, wasn't it? Because they were in everything. That's when everyone had the full back line, the full midfield.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more options this year. Obviously, like you said, the key players are still going to be in everyone's team, but the player pool is a lot more open this year than last season, I think. There's loads of plays that you can get extra points, bonus points from. There just seems to be a lot more players scoring points this year. So there's a lot bigger pool. And especially now we're going into this period over Christmas where there's no European games. The pool will get wider again. So like Maddison will come back in I think he's back fit in January. he'll be possibly an option. So there'll be loads of players that we can have a look at. And then obviously, like Andrew just said, when you get later in the stages in Europe, that's when the player pool gets smaller, because the teams that have got more games are going to be, say, for example, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, whatever. You're going to end up picking the same players from them teams. But yeah, I think it's been a lot better this year for picking players. It's not been as how do you say it? Like everyone not having the same team this year. Yeah, template. That's the word.
Yeah, I don't think it's at the moment. I'd say this week in particular does feel like teams are starting to shape up the same, but that's because this game week 14 feels like a bit of a freak where Liverpool and Arsenal have got pretty much best attack and best defense with the best fixtures. So it feels like everyone has piled on. But I think before this week or in the build up to this week, I don't feel like it was as bad. You have to excuse me because I thought I'd sorted out the ownership table to come up on the screen from FF Stuff on ffstuff.co.uk. You can look at ownership overall, top 100, top 1000, but just the overall, you've got Haaland with 85. And then in 40%, there's no one above 50% other than that. Saka, Salah, and Saliba are the only three that are above 40. And then you've got three that are above 30: Walker, Trippier, and Foden. And then after that, it's pretty much just low 20s and in the 10s, really. So there's not massively owned players. Like even Trent's 15% owned at the minute. So it feels like he's in everyone's team, but sometimes I start to feel like, do you know, we spend a lot of time on Discord and Twitter and all that. You start to think that everyone's team looks like that. But actually there's a lot of players that don't play and don't post their teams and stuff that are out there still. So I don't think it's as bad as we think.
Yeah, and you got this captaincies and the boosters as well. That's mixing it up as well.
Yeah, it keeps it quite a bit different. Just a couple more. This is a quick fire one. The Trippier and Tino, the new Trent and Robbo. I think they're way off. Andrew, you're a Liverpool fan. Still a long way to go.
Trippier and Tino are the new Trent and Simicast.
And then Nathan, I think this is our last question. We did say we were going to ban part of the bus, but we can't really ban part of the bus talk yet, can we? How many points is good and bad in your opinions? I.e., 0 to 40 fail, 41 to 99 okay, 100 points plus a good part of the bus. What's your thoughts on that? I couldn't really bring myself to rate what was poor, good, really good. But what do you guys think?
I would say 1 clean sheet for all your 5 defenders obviously you do park the best on a double game week, yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you had 1 clean sheet for all 5, which you're pushing to get, but in the 2 games, and your appearance points, that would be 14 points times 5, so that's 70. And then in the second game, if you've got nothing, just appearance points, that's another 20. So that makes 90. So I'd be thinking that 90 would be acceptable. And well, a good part of the best, not acceptable, a good one. Do you know what I mean? Because it is quite hard to find, like I said, at the moment, clean sheets, hard to find. So
that's the total, isn't it? That's the total doubled.
Yeah. So that and obviously then you want your defenders to bang scoring points and assists and everything else. So yeah, I reckon if I had 90, I'd be pleased from defence and part of the best.
Yeah, if I had 90 points from a part of the bus, I'd be over the moon with that. I reckon middle of the road, probably around 50, 60 points that I'd be satisfied with. But if I got 90 points, I'd be over the moon with that. You get 62, didn't you, from your part of the bus?
Yeah, 62 or 124 from the back line.
Mm.
So you think 90 overall? You'd take that if you could.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
You had 124. I'm saying
I had 124.
Yeah. So basically 5 points for a clean sheet per player, doubled is 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on one game. And then it's 4 points, 2 points per appearance, doubled is 4. So each player with 1 clean sheet and 1 appearance is 14 points, times 5 players is 70 points game 1. And then game 2, if they did nothing except appear, they'd have 4 points times 5. So that's 20. So that's a 90 total with the doubled part of the bus. And you had 124. So I say you had an excellent one. I reckon 90 I'd be happy with.
Yeah, I don't know how I came to it when I worked it out at the time, but it was quite funny. I jotted it down on a bit of paper. I can't remember if I showed it in the Discord or I only sent it to Connor because he's my tag team partner. But I think I'd worked out that I wanted 60 as in 120 doubled. And I ended up with 124. But that was worked out on, I think, 1 round of clean sheets. I wanted half a round of clean sheets on the second lot and then just hope for some extra points thrown in. But yeah, I didn't imagine it was going to go as well as that. But it's hard to know in it. With just 1 goal ruining it, it is just so hard to predict. But there's your rough targets, Nathan. He's not played it this week, has he?
Who, Nathan? No, I don't think so. I think I got my wires crossed. Yeah, so if we can get like 50 points doubled, it's 100 points. I'd reckon that's about. I'd be happy with that because, like you say, a clean sheet is 7 with the appearance. So yeah, I'd be happy with that 100 points. If you can get over that, then you'll be over the moon.
Right, I think it's time for some quick leagues, but we've ran quite a bit over. So should we read the top threes from these?
Quick. Yeah, we'll quickly go through the top threes.
Quickly go through these. So this is our Tonic Cash League. We've got G Payne in first place. I'm in second, and then I think that's Henry Cartridge in third in the Cash League. And I just want to give a quick reminder to everyone because we do have monthly prizes as well in this league. So G Payne actually got the highest total for the month, and it's the calendar month as well. So you can look at that on ffstuff.co.uk. So G Payne came first, Henry Cartridge came second, and I came third for the monthly prizes in this one. We've got the tag team league. Again, we'll just do the top 3. So in third place, we've got Simon Davis and Stephen Williams. In second, we've got Barry McCormack and Ben Coles. And in first, we've got our own Anthony Sutcliffe and Andy Barnett, who's in the chat. So give Andy Barnett congratulations there as well. Top at the minute.
Tony's parked his bus, I see.
Has he gone for it, is he? Oh, yeah, look.
Yeah,
it shows you the tag up there. We'll have to check in, see how that one's going. Do you want to go for the next one, Ben? We've got the Patreon.
Yeah. Connor Tobin in third, Andy Barnett in second, and Ben Coles top.
Sorry, I stand corrected. Plevna's saying Nathan has played his part of the bus. We'll have to check and see how that's going as well. He kept changing in, out, shake it all about. I couldn't remember. The Premier League. So in third place, we've got O'Higgins. I'm in second. And then we've got Ben Coles in first place. He's still flying high in the overall leaderboard as well, isn't he, at the minute?
Yeah, I think he's fifth, is he?
Fifth. Blimey. He'll be hoping for another clean sheet wipeout because he played his in the same week as me, I think. Game week 9. Go on. You go for the championship.
In championship, Anthony Sutcliffe third, Stringer second, and Wade first.
And then League One, we've got S. Broughton in third, M. Warner in second, and G. Payne in first. Oh, I think he's going to have to be promoted a couple of leagues. I think he's doing well. What's he doing in League One? I think that's just about everything. Thank you very much to everyone that's joined us in the chat this evening. Please do leave a like as well if you're still in there. And thank you, Andrew, for joining us. It's been good to hear your story. That's good to have a winner on board.
It's been great to be on. Thanks.
It's real good fun, actually. We've been chatting a while on Twitter and stuff as well, so it's always good to put a face to a name. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Andrew.
Cheers, Ben.
And then one last quick plug for the Patreon. So if you're listening to this in the future when it goes out, obviously everyone at the moment gets early access if they're in the Patreon, but you can join the Patreon via the link in the description below. And you'll get access to our Discord community, exclusive articles, and all that sort of stuff. So that just about does it. All the best for the rest of the week, and we'll see you on the next episode. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.